There's been a brewing controversy involving Elon Musk, the delivery of ventilators, and CNN over the past several days, because CNN ran a story without fact-checking, where the governor of California said that they've never received the ventilators Elon Musk was supposed to deliver. In fact, the hospitals did receive them. Instead of correcting this mistake, CNN just plays semantics. But interestingly, so do many other media outlets. They immediately start claiming that CPAP and BiPAP machines are not ventilators. Well, they're not the kind of ventilators people are typically thinking of when we say ventilator. They actually are. And more importantly, Elon Musk says they were the devices specifically requested. How do we get to a point where the media is claiming that Elon Musk is not delivering when he literally delivered exactly what they asked for? See, the media drives off of rage bait and fake news. They get a comment without fact checking, and they know Elon Musk being a high profile figure, they will get traffic off of this controversy. And the controversy has been brewing for a few days. Now, I'm certainly not shy about criticizing the media, but there's a more important point through all of this. Yes, perhaps you clicked this story because I made a thumbnail about a Smackdown and Elon Musk. But the reality is these news organizations are upset. These journalists are getting angry. They've been losing their jobs over the past several years. They've repeatedly claimed they need a bailout. They need some kind of assistance. They need to do a buyback away from these hedge funds that are stripping them bare. They keep trying to justify why they should exist and why they are essential. Right now, they're actually asking for a stimulus or a bailout, and there are some Democrats entertaining this. Many others think they absolutely should not be doing this. Now, there's an interesting conundrum here. Should news organizations get bailed out? I mean, I think any business should be able to apply for some kind of loan because no one should go out of business simply because of this emergency. I mean, for the most part. But at the same time, news organizations are failing because they aren't providing essential services. What is a journalist supposed to do? A journalist collects information and then disseminates it. That's the very basic function of journalism. But what is CNN doing? Well, CNN, along with other outlets, are right now engaged in performative nonsense. You got Chris Cuomo on late night TV and CNN pretending to be quarantined. We now know that's not true. He confirmed on his radio show about an encounter out in the public. You've got their hosts complaining about Fox News, just doing performance. And when a story comes out with no fact checking saying that Elon Musk never delivered these ventilators, and it turns out he did, what do? They write another article arguing with him about the semantics of what does qualify as a true ventilator. That isn't giving anybody essential information. It's not helping us better understand the world. So why should we care if you lose your jobs? In fact, I would argue CNN is not essential. Journalism is, but they're not doing journalism. They're just creating entertainment content. So I could argue technically that I'm essential because what I do is journalistic in practice, but I'm not going to go outside with a press badge and argue I should be granted special access because what I'm doing is journalism. I'm doing commentary. Which brings me to the final point of this. Should they receive a bailout? Well, I'll show you the arguments for and against it. And it's not even necessarily about whether or not what they do is good. It's about whether or not the government should be stepping in and tying themselves to the private journalism industries. Now, there are news outlets that get public funding. Should they all? Probably not. But let's read the arguments. The first thing I want to do is I got to drag CNN over this because I really want to break down this controversy. It's a admittedly slow news day. It's Saturday, but I've been particularly frustrated with how CNN's been handling all of this news. And it seems like in their desperation, they are spinning a fake news tale. We'll start from the beginning. But before we do, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's several ways you can give, but the best thing you can do is just share this video. We've got a major competitive, let me back up. I'm competing with CNN. The problem on YouTube will actually put CNN on the front page and guarantee them coverage. And then I have to step up and try and correct all of the misinformation and actually do the journalism they were supposed to do, but didn't. They're not making it easier for us to understand what's going on. They're confusing the issue because they want to argue with Elon Musk and generate clicks. If you think I do a good job, sharing this video is substantially more powerful than any algorithmic boost. So it really does help. Also, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell if you want to make sure, hopefully, YouTube will actually let you know when my videos are uploaded. The first story we saw from CNN 22 hours ago, Elon Musk's promised ventilators never delivered to California hospitals, governor's office says. They say, Tesla's CEO Elon Musk said last month He had obtained more than 1,000 ventilators to help California hospitals treating patients infected with coronavirus, an effort Governor Gavin Newsom hailed as heroic. Now, more than 3 weeks later, the governor's office says none of the promised ventilators have been received by hospitals. At a March 23 news conference, Newsom said the devices, which can provide life-saving support to patients, had already arrived in Los Angeles and were on their way to hospitals in need, saying, "I told you a few days ago that he was likely to have 1,000 ventilators this week. They arrived in LA, and Elon Musk is already working with Hospital Association and others to get those ventilators out. It's a heroic effort." And that's true. He did. They're there. Elon brought the receipts. You may have seen the initial part of the story, so forgive me if you've already heard the gist of this, but this is the beginning context because the controversy has now expanded, and CNN and others are tearing, Twitter users and fans of Elon are tearing CNN apart over this. So Elon Musk famously responded just a couple days ago. What I find most surprising is that CNN still exists. He tweets to Governor Gavin Newsom, "Please fix the misunderstanding," and then provides receipts. In one email that says Tesla support LA County, we can see someone from lacounty.gov saying, "Do you know if these, someone from Tesla asked the lacounty.gov, do you know if these ventilators went into use? The lacounty.gov individual said they worked great during testing today. We will put these to use tomorrow." Now, what's the right thing for CNN to do? Admit the mistake and carry on. And what did they do? Nothing. They didn't. They actually doubled down. Reporters blamed Elon Musk for not responding, even though Elon provided numerous emails showing that, yes, in fact, he did actually provide ventilators. In this tweet, Elon Musk shows a list of the hospitals to which Tesla sent ventilators. And this context here is important for the story coming up. He said, "These were based on direct requests from their ICU wards with exact specifications of each unit provided before shipment." Now, when I say Elon Musk he goes for the Smackdown, he does. He slams CNN quite a bit. I'm showing you this first because now I'm going to get into the context around what's happening before I show you how CNN responded to this. The hospitals themselves requested these specific devices, CPAP and BiPAP machines. In one tweet from New York, they said, "Special thanks to Tesla for a donation of 40 ventilators to our team in NYC Health Plus Hospital Elmhurst in Queens. These will be essential in the fight against the coronavirus from March 31st. These ventilators that were sent, I believe, were CPAP and BiPAP machines. They're called non-invasive ventilators. When people say ventilators, they're typically referring to invasive ventilation, meaning they go right into your lungs, provide oxygen directly. That is not what Elon Musk provided, but Elon Musk was delivering what they'd asked for. Well, sure enough, we can see also over at Newsweek, all hospitals were given exact specifications of ResMed and Philips ventilators before delivery, and all confirmed they would be critical, Musk wrote, after one supportive Twitter user noted that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo had confirmed this week that BiPAP machines were now being converted into the more invasive form of ventilators on the approval of the state's own health department. So not only are the hospitals requesting these, they're doing the conversions, they're getting what they need. Of course, CNN couldn't be satisfied with that when one person responded to Elon Musk's list saying, "Why isn't this the story? I'd much rather read the good that Tesla has done for the USA than a made-up story about how no ventilators were delivered in CA. CNN, don't be part of the problem." Jackie Wattles, who is a reporter over at CNN, she's a CNN business writer, said, "I just want to weigh in and say that CNN reporters, including me, have reached out to Tesla multiple times to ask about ventilators over the past several weeks, and we never got a response." This latest story reports what Governor Newsom said. Have you tried fact-checking? Did you call the hospitals before the report? They didn't. So Elon Musk has been right the whole time. CNN could have easily said, "You know what? You're right, Elon. We didn't actually fact-check what the governor said. We just released a government statement." Journalists aren't supposed to be mouthpieces for the government. If the government says something, you investigate it. Well, that's not what CNN did. When it turns out that they were wrong, here's what we get instead. John Passantino, formerly of BuzzFeed, now of CNN, tweets, "Elon Musk posted a list of California hospitals yesterday. He said had received ventilators. We called all of them, and everyone that responded said they received CPAP or BiPAP machines, not ventilators." And there it is. That's why I showed you the tweet from the statement from Newsweek. as well as the tweet from NYC hospitals, because these are ventilators. They're just non-invasive ones. CNN is now trying to manipulate language instead of just correcting. Why do we have a news media that is arguing with someone about semantics instead of just being honest and helping us understand what's actually happening? Well, it's because they're not real news. It's just fake news. You know, Donald Trump likes to call CNN fake news. And I was asked recently, at what point do we point out it's not laziness, it's intentional? Yeah, it's intentional. I'm sorry. I got to point out the Cuomo thing again, man. You want evidence of CNN fabricating the news? They're doing it right now every night with Cuomo pretending to be quarantined, and they won't fess up or admit it. When Elon Musk tried to do something nice, the media, what do? They write fake news to smear the guy because no good deed goes unpunished. Here's the story. Elon Musk says he sent ventilators to California hospitals. They say they got something else instead. No, you are twisting the definition of the words to make the guy look bad. So when we get to the point about how they're asking for stimulus money, you know where I'll probably fall on that dice roll, right? CNN writes, Governor Gavin Newsom responded Thursday to Tesla CEO Elon Musk's claim the company had delivered more than 1,000 ventilators to the state's hospitals. In a series of tweets early Thursday, Musk asked Newsom to please fix this misunderstanding after the governor's office told CNN the state's hospitals had not received ventilators promised last month by the Tesla CEO, including in tweets from Musk was a partial list of hospitals that he had said had been sent ventilators. In another tweet, he said the donations were based on direct requests from their ICU wards with exact specifications of each unit provided before shipment. Quote, I was not personally aware of that list, Newsom said in a press conference. I'm very encouraged that he put out that list and those specific hospitals, but that's where he had been sending those resources. And let me start that over. He says, I'm very encouraged that he put out that list and those specific hospitals. That's where he had been sending those resources. And I look forward to learning more about where they went. And I'm grateful for his support. Wow. So when CNN doesn't fact check and then actually makes Elon Musk look bad, and he has to come out and say, boom, here are the receipts, then Governor Newsom responds. CNN should have got the statement first. And if they couldn't, they should have fact checked and then asked Governor Gavin Newsom. They didn't. But they put out this story anyway. And here's where they refuse to accept responsibility. Ventilators or something else? CNN contacted 10 California hospitals identified by Musk in the partial list of recipients he posted on Thursday. Of the 4 hospitals that responded, all said they had received bi-level positive airway pressure or continuous positive airway pressure machines. Devices that can aid breathing and be used for sleep apnea. None had received ventilators. This is a lie. It's amazing how far they're willing to go to lie to you, to maintain their narrative. And you know what? Here's the secret. CNN puts out this fake news. They get 1 million or whatever clicks. People come to the story, they read it, they go, oh, egad. They force Elon Musk to engage, giving them more traffic, generating more controversy. CNN then does not correct. They engage the controversy, argue with Elon, and play semantics to get more clicks. And the worst of it, they can write fake news and get 1 million hits. The next day, issue a correction and apology, get no hits. Doesn't matter. They still made the money. The truth is, and you can look this up, CPAP machines and BiPAP machines are ventilators. They're not colloquial, semantically ventilators, I suppose. You know, they're non-invasive. And people typically refer to ventilators as invasive, but they literally are what was asked for. Case in point, New York City called them ventilators. In the emails posted by Elon Musk, they are called ventilators. CNN is just lying again. In this tweet from a user named Viv on Twitter, he says, 1, C and BiPAP machines are a type of ventilator. It's literally on both the ResMed and Johns Hopkins Medicine website. Hospitals have been saying repeatedly that the machines donated by Musk are much appreciated and can be converted to critical care capable. And 3, F off John. Elon Musk then tweets, cancel news network. Another user says, this is why I'm sick of mainstream media. They are not reporting news, but fake stories with their own agendas. Main reason why I started my own blog. And Elon Musk with the final Smackdown, advertising salespeople dressed as truth tellers. Please don't forget it. I'm going to make sure I tell you this one more time. It is a slow news day, for sure. But you know, I'm a big critic of the media. So of all the stories that I could have chosen, I really wanted to break down how they are lying. This is what the media does. They create manipulative stories. They try and justify a headline. They write fake news clickbait. And you know what? You can accuse me of being guilty of similar things. Sometimes I can be hyperbolic, I can exaggerate, or, it's clickbaity. But I try to make sure that what I'm saying is at least based in fact. Yeah, maybe the headlines are a little sensational. Like, this one's Elon Musk Smackdown of CNN. Yeah, right. I'm an opinion guy. I'm one person, and this is the kind of content I make. CNN is supposed to be, they're supposed to be telling us how the world is working. They're supposed to be the most trusted name in news. But come on, they're straight up lying about what's really going on. This person who claims to be a doctor, saying that they are COVID battleground New York with a picture of them wearing protective gear, said, North Shore greatly appreciated the donation. Thank you, Elon. Someone actually responded to this doctor saying they aren't ventilators, they're old BiPAP machines. Most all hospitals have banned BiPAP machines in setting of COVID due to aerosolization. The doctor responded, we are making them into invasive vents, my friend. It's an easy convert. And then links to northwell.edu. Northwell converts BiPAP machines into ventilators for hospitalized COVID-19 patients, uses 3D printed adapter. You actually have doctors on Twitter saying, thank you, Elon, for the help. Why does everything always have to be so awful to these people? Look, I get it. Again, I'll accept criticism because I'm a part of this game too. Here I am with a negative story talking about how the media is so awful. But it's kind of like multi-layered. If CNN wasn't putting out this fake news, I wouldn't be talking about it. And I haven't been for the most part. I've been much more focused on politics as of recent. But here we go. At a time when we need to know more than ever that, what's going on with this crisis, CNN isn't serving to help us understand. They're serving to confuse us on purpose and refuse to accept responsibility for it. You get Brian Stelter, who's ragging on Fox News and Trump all day, adding to the noise and the confusion, doing an opinion show. You get his media reporters, once again, just doing opinion content. And it's fine if you want to do opinion content. Just stop pretending you're news. Because now it brings me to the political aspect of everything. CJR writes, journalism needs a stimulus. Here's what it should look like. They say COVID-19 has upended everything, including business as usual in Washington. In a matter of days, facing the reality of a nationwide shutdown and worsening economic crisis, Congress got serious about spending money, a lot of it. A recovery package in the trillions of dollars, blah, blah, blah. They write, Free Press, the independent nonprofit advocacy organization I lead, champions structural solutions to the news business's dire financial problems. We've long campaigned for more federal and state support for public media, opposed media consolidation, and argued that journalism is too important to democracy to be left to the whims of the market. The Free Press organization that's asking for money right now championed the banning of certain figures on social media, ran petitions asking people to get certain news, I don't necessarily want to say news outlets, but political commentary outlets banned. I'm going to avoid getting into the specifics of it, but they're not about the free press. They recently led some kind of lawsuit or legal action to try and get the government to take action against a news outlet, to which the FCC responded, we are not going to police speech in this country. They call themselves free press, but they're not. Yet they are still saying they deserve money from the government. I'm sorry, man. News in this country died a long time ago, and we need it more than ever. There are real journalists losing their jobs. The only problem? These real journalists refuse to call out the slime in the industry that has been draped over their work and is now creating just garbage information that confuses people. You want to rag on Fox News, do it with my blessing. But you can't ignore CNN. You can't ignore what the New York Times does. You can't ignore the Washington Post. They're all doing this. Now, maybe it's because they're just trying to survive. Okay, that's fair. But you got to stop pretending it's real news. And to all these people who just blindly believe it, I mean, they're going to be left trapped in this fake reality of nonsense. You know, I've had people respond to tweets of mine. I've been very critical of the media right now, saying stop lying. And sure enough, these poor people who believe complete fake information respond saying things that are just not true. The worst thing about this is if you watch someone like me and many others in conservative media, they'll tell you to watch what you can. They'll tell you to watch everybody. In fact, they'll share the articles. I frequently say, make sure you watch other people. Don't just get your information from me. You know why? It's not just about getting a second opinion. It's also about realizing, hey, I'm right. When I tell you, you should go watch this guy's channel because maybe there's something I missed, many people watch these other channels and these networks and then say, I just realized how wrong they were. The things you were saying were backed up by sources. Theirs weren't. Good. We can realize then who's lying and who's not. And I'll tell you what, that's my view of it. It's entirely possible I really am wrong, and you should go watch them. But when you watch Brian Stelter on CNN, when you read these CNN stories, they will tell you they are the most trusted name in news, and they will tell you not to get your information from other sources. They actually have done this. So then what? You get trapped in a bubble of fake news. When their business starts decaying because it's archaic and failing, what do? They turn to the government for money to sustain them. And that, to me, is the worst part of this. Look how hard Elon Musk had to fight to prove they were lying. And imagine how everybody else has to do this all day, every day. If you're a Trump supporter, oh, you know it. They lie nonstop. Trump is far from perfect. Trump talks BS a lot, too. I'll try to keep my language down. But there's a massive media apparatus, and Trump is one man. Now, he's the most powerful man in the world, for sure. And I mean, it's not saying a whole lot. Maybe he's not necessarily the most powerful, because maybe you could say some billionaires are. But he's certainly up there. And that means when he lies or says things that are wrong, it's very serious. A good journalist would try and make sure they can, keep your trust while calling out the things that Trump says are incorrect and trying to verify if what he's saying is true or false. But you end up with these performance art pieces by people like Jim Acosta, and it's just not real news. It's a sideshow. They accuse Trump of doing it, but they do the exact same thing. So let me make one thing clear for you. Let's step outside of the argument of whether or not Trump is being honest or the media is being honest. What is Trump lying or is the media lying? It doesn't matter. It is not the role of our news media, all of these different organizations, to perform for us. If Donald Trump is going to give us propaganda and try to get reelected, you know what I say to that? Sounds like a politician. If our news media abandons objectivity for this idea of mission-driven storytelling and, resistance, well, then we no longer have objective reality. I mean, many of us do. If you're watching channels like mine and you watch other channels, you'll get a better view of things. Is it perfect? No way. I'm certainly biased for sure. I have my biases against the media, against much of the establishment, which more so includes much of the Democratic establishment. But if you only watch CNN, you live in a twisted and warped reality. They give you your boogeyman, Fox News. But CNN is essentially the same thing. Again, I'm stepping outside of the arguments about who's right or who's wrong politically. If you look at the late night hosts for Fox News, you get Hannity, you get Ingram, it's, people like that. And if you look at the late night for CNN, you get Cuomo and you get Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper, and they're playing the same game. The only difference? When you watch Tucker Carlson, you know you're being fed opinions. When you watch Don Lemon, he actually asserts he's fair and balanced, but then goes on rants and laughs and mocks Trump supporters and Trump and gives overt opinions and makes weird nonsensical statements. Jim Acosta stands up and grandstands, teeing up Trump for the perfect smackdown of CNN. And then when CNN is called out for not doing actual journalism because they didn't fact check the governor's statement, Elon Musk has to spend a couple days proving they're lying. And then in the end, instead of admitting it, what do? They just argue semantics. It's the worst kind of performance crap you can get out of the press. So I'll tell you what, I will never tell you not to watch CNN. By all means, go read what they're saying. Then when you watch my video, you'll be like, wow, that's a good point, Tim. I did read that from CNN. At least that's how I see it. Maybe you'll eventually get something from CNN that proves me wrong. I think that's fair to point out. It's possible. Same is true for MSNBC and the Washington Post and the New York Times. I tend to think these digital websites are pretty good. I mean, they're mostly okay. You just got to break through the noise and try and figure out where the lies are. The New York Times just ran defense for Joe Biden. It was disgusting. The Washington Post has written overt fake news before. But I tend to use these sources. It's funny when people on Twitter will be like, Tim Pool rags on the media all day, but then just reads their articles. Yeah, I've pointed that out several times. You know what I do? I'll find an article from CNN, and then I will look through it. And if I find contradictory information, false framing, or lies, I call it out. So quite literally, this whole segment is giving you the basic understanding of what I do every day, but you don't see it. When I do a video talking about the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, here's what she's doing. I talk to you about how I perceive what they're doing versus what Trump is doing and why Trump tends to win out on these things. You can argue that I'm biased, and that's fair. But if you look at my track record of saying Trump was right about this, Trump is winning on this fight, it coincides with an increase in his donors, the amount of money he's making, his poll numbers. And I'm not the one making that happen. I'm telling you it's happening, and then it's happening. So when you see those videos I produce, what I'm not telling you for the most part is every time I found fake news. So a lot of people want to say that what I do is not journalism. It is. Not at the top, right? First and foremost, it is political commentary. But in order to have an educated opinion, I have to find all of these lies, which is exactly what this breakdown is. Normally, I wouldn't go through everything and say, here's how CNN lied. I would just say, in this article, they lied. Now I'm actually giving you the nitty gritty because this is the important part, the important piece of current politics, I guess. How CNN plays games and how they're now asking for money, how they lie and manipulate. So you know what? I'll wrap it up there because I got to be honest, I could rant on the media all day, every day. But if anyone ever asks you, they say, Tim Pool's not a journalist. Well, Joe Rogan recently said I was, and that's not like, he's an expert. But I think he understands, and I tremendously respect this, and I'm very grateful. He understands that when I go through news and information, I'm trying to break down and figure out what the truth is. If I see something not true, I'm not going to come out and say it's true. I'm not going to leave out information to try and make a point. I don't care who wins in the end. I don't care which politician wins. I don't care if CNN hires 10 more people, fires 10 more people. I care about what's being said to people is factual. And right now, Elon Musk is digging through the weeds because it's fake news. But people can see this. And that's why trust in media continues to drop down. I'll leave it there. Stick around. The next segment will be coming up at 6 p.m. at youtube.com/TimCastNews. It is a different channel. I'll see you all then.